Good morning. This is the Tuesday, June 9th, regular closed session meeting of the EBMUD Board of Directors. Director Andy Katz is participating via teleconference from Platz der Vereinten Nationen 4 in Bonn, Germany. I see you, Andy, so thank you for participating remotely. And Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Director Chan?
Here.
Director Katz?
Here.
Director Lewis?
Here.
Director Odie?
Here.
Director Smith?
Present.
Director Young?
Here.
President Young?
Here.
I'm sorry. President Gomez. I had to.
So it is my understanding that staff would like to add an item to the agenda for today's closed session meeting, specifically to discuss a letter received yesterday evening from the Building Industry Association of the Bay Area, contesting the proposed new system capacity charges to be considered at this afternoon's board meeting as they apply to townhomes, condominiums, and duets, and which appears to threaten legal action. The Brown Act provides that the board may discuss an item which was not previously placed on an agenda when the board determines that there is a need to take immediate action and that the need for action came to the attention of district after the meeting agenda had already been posted. Under these circumstances, the board may, by a 2/3 vote of its members, present to add another item to the June 9th, 2026 closed session agenda. With that in mind, do I have a motion and a second to add item 1B to today's closed session agenda, June 9th, entitled Letter from Building Industry Association of the Bay Area dated June 8th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
Are we going to discuss?
Moved by Director Lewis, seconded by Director Smith. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just got this about a minute ago.
So did
So I have, so we haven't had time to, I would appreciate some time to review this.
So that's
So I
kind of the
feel-
point of putting it
on our agenda for this
on the agenda
afternoon.
for the
I have
closed
had
session
an-
meeting.
And we
I did
received
have
the
an
letter late last night, so.
Okay, so,
So everybody got it late. Nobody has had much of a chance to look at it, which is why we're hoping to put it on the closed session agenda. Director Lewis?
I just wanted to note, I have had an opportunity to review the letter and still make the motion.
Okay, thank you. So any other comments?
yeah, I just have a question. How is this a closed session item? Not that I haven't looked at it at all, but I don't remember anything of this nature being in closed session.
Yeah, there is basically a potential for litigation. It appears to threaten legal action, which is why it would be able to be considered
I
under
see.
litigation.
Okay,
The
That's
second-
why.
The second half of the letter appears to threaten litigation against the district.
I
Yes.
see. Okay, all right.
Okay, so we have a motion,
And
another,
we've provided our colleague copy.
I am.
via email?
I
Director
did
Katz?
email a copy of the
Okay.
letter to.
Okay.
Director. We got it last night in our
And we just,
Word Outlook email.
Okay.
So everybody has received a copy. We have a motion and a second to place it on the closed session calendar. Let's do a roll call, Madam Secretary.
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
yes?
Director Odie?
Yes.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes. Okay, thank you. So the motion has passed. Item 1B entitled Letter from Building Industry Association of the Bay Area dated June 8th, 2026 is added to a closed session agenda for today's meeting. So now we'll move on to public comment. If members of the public are online and wish to speak on agenda or non-agenda items, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom. Madam Secretary, do we have any members of the public who wish to make comment?
No online public comment and no public comment in the audience.
Okay, so with that, the board will now convene in conference room 8 to discuss the closed session agenda items 1 and 2, and we are scheduled to return for the regular meeting at 1:15. Welcome to the Tuesday, June 9th, 2026 regular business meeting of the EBMUD Board of Directors. Director Andy Katz will participate via teleconference from Platz der Vereinten Nationen 4 in Bonn, Germany. We see you, Andy. Thank you for joining us. And roll call, Madam Secretary.
Director Chan,
Here.
Director Katz,
Here.
Director Lewis,
Here?
Director Odie,
I'm here.
Director Smith,
Present.
Director Young,
Here.
President Gomez.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. General Manager Chan will announce the Construction Management Association of America, Northern California Chapter Project Achievement Award.
Thank you, President Gomez. I'm pleased to share that the district's Happy Valley and Sunnyside pumping plants and Happy Valley Pipeline Phase 2 Improvements Project received the 2026 Construction Management Association of America, or CMAA, Northern California Project Achievement Award. This award recognizes outstanding achievements in construction management and highlights the efforts of the project team, including district staff, construction management partners, consultants, and the contractor who contributed to the successful delivery of the project. This approximately $19 million project included the construction of 2 new pumping plants, the 4 million gallon per day Happy Valley pumping plant and the 1.5 million gallon per day Sunnyside pumping plant, and approximately 3,000 feet of 16-inch steel pipeline in Orinda. The project is part of the district's Water Treatment and Transmission Improvements Program, a long-term program consisting of 19 projects that began in 2006. This project represents one of the final pieces of that program and provides important improvements to the district's ability to transmit water, maintain storage, and improve service reliability in a high fire risk area. The project involves several complex construction challenges. Work occurred on constrained project sites, in residential and environmentally sensitive areas, and along a major thoroughfare. The pipeline work required a full road closure during the summer months, temporary water service facilities, construction near residential properties, and work across Lauderwasser Creek. To protect the creek and the surrounding habitat, the project required close coordination with multiple permitting agencies, environmental monitoring, creek bypass work, and restoration of the creek bank. The team also coordinated vibration monitoring, biological and tribal monitoring, arborist support, and other environmental protection throughout the construction. The project also faced major schedule challenges, including delayed fabrication of turbine pump components due to supply chain issues and utility service delays. The construction management team responded by holding regular coordination meetings, tracking critical path activities, working closely with the contractor and utility provider, and bringing in technical expertise to support the resolution of equipment fabrication issues. Another notable achievement was the project's focus on the community. The pumping plants were designed and constructed to blend into the rural and residential character of the surrounding neighborhood. The finished facilities are quiet, visually compatible with the area, and provide long-term operational benefits to the district and the community. I'd like to recognize the staff, consultants, and project partners who contributed to this award-winning project, and some of those staff are with us today, including Chloe Oshebu, Senior Administrative Clerk, Billy Boyduk, MCK America's Residential Engineer, Daniel Eng, Senior Civil Engineer, Paresh Gandhi, Assistant Engineer, Sana Garcia, Associate Civil Engineer, Patty Luba, Senior Administrative Clerk, Jim Mangini, Land Surveyor Supervisor, Craig Roberts, Assistant Land Surveyor Supervisor, Bar Maximian, Associate Electrical Engineer, and Joe Volker, Community Affairs Representative 2. This award reflects the strong work of the district's project team and highlights the value of strong construction management practices in delivering complex public infrastructure projects safely, responsibly, and with lasting community benefit. We're proud of the team's accomplishments and grateful for the recognition from CMAA Northern California. Please join me in congratulating this team for its outstanding achievement, and Director Young will present the award to staff. So congratulations again.
I just want to thank you all on behalf of the residents of wards 2 and 3 that benefit directly from the outcome of this project for meeting and surpassing all of the challenges that you met, that Clifford talked about, and just thank you, great team effort, what the kind of thing that we just expect from all of you at EBMUD. So thank you very much.
Thank you again and congratulations. What a well-deserved award. So now we're going to move on to announcements from closed session, and there are no announcements required from closed session today. We're moving on to public comment, and if members of the public are online and wish to speak on agenda or non-agenda items, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom. Comments on non-agenda items will be heard now, and comments on agenda items will be heard when the item is up for consideration. So, Madam Secretary, do we have any online public comments? I do have some in the audience comments.
No online public comment.
Okay. So we're going to, I'm going to call the speakers in the order that I received them. And you have 3 minutes to speak. Please refrain from providing personal information such as your address or phone number during public comment. And if we need this information, we will have you contact staff. So I will, the secretary will track the time. And the first speaker is Rosa Ochoa. Is Rosa here? Yes, Rosa Ochoa.
Good afternoon. I know this is kind of unorthodox, but
Yeah.
we thought they were going to call us and then we put it in which we put them in. But this
Oh,
is,
okay.
I'm Kevin Holden, if you see me.
So I could definitely rearrange a little bit. So you're Kevin.
Yeah, we're kind of a unit.
Oh, Kevin. Okay, so Kevin and Alex and Marisol and Rosa. Okay, so Kevin, please feel free to start with your 3 minutes and then we'll.
Good afternoon, board, audience members, excuse my back. I am Kevin Holden and I am the president of SWAPOW. And some of you guys may be familiar with SWAPOW, and so that's why I'm here today, to reintroduce us because there's a need. Service Workers for Affordable Utility and Water, that's the acronym. We do advocacy for people who get in trouble paying their utility bills, water, PG&E, and soon to come technology. That's on the horizon. The reason why I'm here today is we are looking for an expansion beyond CAP program to help assist with that. And the reason why we bring that up is because if you are on Oakland Housing Authority or anything like that, or affordable housing in those realms, if your service is cut off, your overall voucher is terminated. So if the worker finds out that your water's off or utilities off, you get no housing. And so we're asking something beyond CAP, because our incomes are lower, but things will go higher. You guys experience the crunch that we're going through now. And so we are finding it very difficult to maintain just on, the money that we make. For PG&E customers, the average bill that comes into our office is between $1,200 and $1,500. We see anywhere from 2 to 30 people a week. So with that and the water, people have to make a decision. Do I heat or eat, or do I not have water to wash the food? So in the last part that I wanted to bring up is that we have to pay to get the water, continue the services. But we're asking for some accountability from EBMUD as far as your representatives. We have heard things like get a second job, collect cans, hang up the phone on us, put us on hold and things like that. These are desperate times. And so, to have your phone hung up on you or somebody to tell you need to go collect cans, that's rude, that's disrespectful. And so part of, again, before I close, is just, again, to reintroduce who we are, because we will be familiar over the years coming, because it's that time. And next, we're going to have, you want to go? Or?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to use my time to talk about a particular case. My name is Marisol. I am an advocate for Rosa Ochoa. Yesterday, we fought for hours on the phone with EBMUD customer service representative. And we were trying to come to a solution to get Rosa's water turned back on. She currently has no water, and she has a bill that is too high for her to pay. It's unrealistic for her to pay off this high of a bill. And so we were trying to come up with a solution for her to have a more realistic payment, to turn on her water and to ensure that she can pay off something. We were met with no solution. We were met with no resolution. Actually, the customer service representative hung up on us, and his reasoning was because that Rosa does not speak English. And because she doesn't speak English and because she doesn't speak English and he doesn't speak Spanish, that we would need a translator. So he said that a different representative would call her at a different time. And we explained that that wasn't what we wanted. Rosa confirmed with him that she would like to continue conversation and bring on an interpreter. We also explained to him that there were many people in the office who, with us, there were many people who were able to translate. But we were hung up on, and so we're here today trying to come up with, we need a solution. That's what we're here today. We need a solution for Rosa to come up with a realistic payment plan and to make sure that her water stays on.
Thank you. So you were out, you were Marisol. And so then we will have Alex speak next. Is that, do you want to speak or?
He's more of a translator.
More of a
Yeah,
translator,
yeah.
okay. So then, would we like to have Rosa, through your translator, say a few words? Is that what you would like to do?
President Gomez?
Yes.
Can you waive or slightly increase the time available for
Yes,
interpretation?
for interpretation, you would have more time of course.
Yeah.
So it would take, we will give you, 3 minutes plus 3 minutes for the translation.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Rosa Ochoa.
Hello, everyone. Her name is Rosa Ochoa.
Sí, pues se me ha complicado pagar los biles, ¿verdad? Del servicio de agua. Pero mi pregunta es, me han estado restringiendo el agua desde hace meses, pero yo no veo que el bill venga menos. Al contrario, el bill viene más caro. Entonces, ¿de qué manera yo puedo pagar? Siendo que en vez de que el bill venga menos, porque hay menos servicio y también hay menos personas en mi casa, ya que mi hijo tuvo un accidente de carro y falleció y pues no vive ahí, tenía 2 niñas, entonces éramos 3 personas más viviendo en la casa. Y ahora hay menos personas, hay menos agua y el aumento del bill está arriba. No entiendo eso.
So it's been complicated for her to not understanding very well how the bill is going up while her service is cut off, and then she has her son died on an accident, and then she has some struggle going on in her life, and then they weren't able to agree on a realistic payment or at least figure out how her case is going to be, and then instead of getting down the payment or giving a realistic payment, they're increasing the bills, and then she's not able to afford that.
Thank you. ¿Algo más que quieres, anything else you would like to say? Señora Rosa? No, ¿eso es todo?
Necesito ayuda con el servicio y que me restauren el agua porque pues tengo mis niños todavía ahí y necesito una solución, por favor.
So she needs a help, and then to settle this problem because she has her daughters in her household, and then she needs a solution to get her service back.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming. We very much appreciate you personally coming to talk to us. And if we could have staff, please meet
So
with
if they
them.
can just, Andrew Lee is right behind you. Andrew, can you please speak with these people and try to work out the situation?
Yes, that would be great, please.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for coming.
I do have two more speaker cards for this portion of the agenda. And now I would like to welcome Anthony Severus.
Hello, my name's Anthony Severo. Can everyone hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, I am a resident of Lafayette and the constituent of Director Gomez. And I'm here today to speak about the man whose name this boardroom has been fittingly named, and that's Bill Patterson. I was introduced to Bill about 3 years ago. After my first interaction with him, I was so inspired by his life story that I was motivated to do something I had never done before, and that was make a documentary. And I believe that there's other board members here who've been in the presence of Bill, who've been inspired to do something they've never done before. And so he inspired me to do this film. And, you know, the reason I did it is because it was so inspiring. I wanted more people to be aware of his legacy. And when you're aware of his legacy, it makes you a better person. And it also, you realize the importance of public service. And if everybody was a mentor and disciple of Bill, I think we'd have a much better world. People would be helping a lot more people. Now, before Bill's passing, we were able to get a lot of film, but it wasn't quite enough for a full documentary. However, we did decide to do a short film. We showed parts of that at his memorial, and I think some of the board members here graciously gave a few words at his memorial. I am excited to say that this film was picked for the Emeryville Film Festival, and it was shown, I think, with good success. Now, I must admit, many people in town know myself and Bill Patterson, so I was excited it was selected, but surely a lot of people knew us. But I'd also love to announce that we submitted the film to some film festivals, and the next one we submitted it to was the Roxbury Film Festival, which is a 10-day film festival in the Northeast, one of the largest. And our film, The Bill Patterson Story, was selected to be the opener for the entire film festival.
Aw, congratulations.
So, as someone once said, there are 2 times you die. One when you leave this earth, and the second when people forget your name and stop saying your name. Well, he's now on this boardroom, and he's also on film. And this film will make its way through the film festivals around the country, and everyone will see the beauty of Bill Patterson and of Oakland. And that's the purpose. So I really want to thank everybody here for all of your input. I want to thank Bill, his family, and I also, I can't make the film public right now because it is on the film festival circuit, but I would love to offer it up to EBMUD for internal usage. So if you would like that, somebody come take me up on this proposal, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's beautiful news. Thank you, Anthony. And yes, somebody may reach out to you, and we have your contact information. Thank you.
Tracy's getting up right now.
I don't know if Kelly or Tracy, if you can connect with them right now?
That would be great. Thank you.
I would also, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but we will be having family film nights at the Bowl. And we could certainly, once it's available for public distribution, it could be something that we show.
That would be great. Yeah, so many avenues. Just lovely to know that that exists now. Thank you. All right, and lastly, I would like to welcome Justin Young to talk about maintenance and construction reorg.
From Crystal Wisman, what? Yasmin? Sorry. From Crystal Yasmin, the manager of maintenance and construction, dated May 8th, memo, notification of maintenance and construction department reorganization. There's a discussion tab. All staff will maintain responsibility for the job duties outlined under their current class descriptions. Local 2019 job classes of senior admin clerk and admin clerk's class descriptions that will be affected by this reorg haven't been updated since 1994. That's 32 years old. Good afternoon, President Gomez, Board of Directors, General Manager Chan, East Bay MUD family. We have a rollout of a reorg happening in Maintenance and Construction Department. The reorg will directly affect a minimum of 22 senior admin clerk, and admin clerk job classifications. These positions perform similar job duties our Office of Secretary have done seamless in our board meetings, but we're talking for the entirety of the Maintenance and Construction Department of East Bay MUD. We all know how much we rely on these job classes in our day-to-day positions. Personally, I know I rely on my clerk daily. The unions were notified on May 8th with a memo saying we have until May 22nd if there are impacts of this decision we wish to meet and confer on. 2 weeks for our union to come up with impacts. This was not only a shock to many of our members who reached out to union leadership, but it was unclear what this meant for their job duties. I requested to sit in a meeting with Crystal Yasmin, Manager of Maintenance and Construction, to see whose idea was the reorg and to request for more time due to the questions from our members that couldn't be answered. We found out in this meeting, our GM, Clifford Chan, was the driver of the reorg, and it was rolling out July 1st, and district wasn't interested in extending that date. The tone of the meeting was dismissive with the "we'll play the reorg by ear and we'll figure it out as we go" attitude. There also seemed to be mixed messages to our members stating the reorg wouldn't roll out till fiscal year 2028, but the rollout will begin immediately on July 1st, 2026. This was the sort of wedge I discussed this morning at the Ledge HR committee meeting between labor and management that ER is trying to bridge. We realized it was almost impossible to come up with impacts if the reorg job duties haven't been fully identified. Local 2019 is requesting to pause the reorg until senior admin clerks and admin clerks' job classifications have been updated. There needs to be clear direction with senior admin clerk and admin clerk duties in maintenance and construction for this reorg to be successful. My goal as union president is to give the voiceless at East Bay MUD a voice. Thank you for the floor.
Thank you so much, Justin. Can we get a brief comment?
Yeah, just briefly, I mean, Crystal and management have been meeting with the various unions to discuss the impact as part of the meet and confer when we do these type of reorgs. Justin, again, we had asked for provide the impacts. We provided you 3 extensions now to provide the impacts. So we do encourage you to let us know what the impacts would be as part of the meet and confer process. I hear what you're saying in terms of updating the job classifications, although I don't think that's relevant to the reorganization because the admin clerks in their current positions, I mean, they're doing their jobs right now. So again, there's a meet and confer process. Crystal has been meeting with all the unions, and I hear you saying that it might be difficult to identify impacts, but I think it will be important to share what the impacts will be as part of the meet and confer process.
Thank you so much. All right, so we'll move on to committee reports. The minutes for the May 26 Finance and Administration Committee meeting were provided in our agenda materials. And today we will receive updates from this morning's Planning and Legislative Human Resources Committee meetings. The first report comes to us by Director Lewis from the Planning Committee.
Good afternoon. The Planning Committee met this morning. We received a presentation on on the East Bay Stewardship Network collaboration. We provided feedback and are looking for more information regarding a draft agreement, but we were generally very supportive of the process and the focus and intent.
Thank you, Director Lewis. And the next report is from the Legislative and Human Resources Committee by Director Smith.
Thank you. We had 4 items that were discussed. 3 were voted on for legislative update regarding Legislative Report number 4-26 to consider position on the following bill: budget trailer bill, supply bank, Oakport funding, and like. So it was moved by Director Odie, second by Director Chan, and all were in agreement to support the staff recommendation. For the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategic Plan update, again, Odie was the person who made the motion and Chan second. We supported staff recommendation and accept the report. Also, the Strengthening Labor and Employee Relation Services, we switched up a little bit. Director Chan made the motion and Director Odie second. So we accepted the report.
Okay, thank you very much for that update.
We also received an update. Did you talk about the employee dental benefits
What-
update?
Okay, yes, we did talk about the employee dental benefits, but there was no need for us to vote on it because that was already agreed within the MOU.
Thank you. Good update. All right, so we will now consider our consent calendar, which are items 1 through 10. And are there any comments from the public on consent calendar items?
I'd like to actually pull.
Okay, I'll go to you next.
Not there
Any,
yet.
any public commenters? Nope, no public commenters. Okay. So then the board members who wish to pull any items, so far I have
Yeah.
Director Young with pulling item number.
Item 10,
Item 10.
that's the, right? 9, sorry.
9, okay. And Director Chan?
Yeah, number 1.
Number 1. Okay, so I will then request a vote on items 2 through 8 and 10. Do I have a motion to, well, she pulled 9.
No, it's not 9. Well, I guess it is,
Just make sure we're clear.
well, it's not, it is 9.
Wait, you are pulling 9, correct?
Well, it's 9 and 10, actually, because they're
Yeah, 10.
together.
No, I think you wanted to pull item 9 on the AB 408. Item 10 is more,
Well, I had a question about 10.
10, okay, we can pull 9 and 10.
Let's do 9 and 10 and
9 and
kind
10.
of do them as a
Well,
lump.
before we pull it, maybe just clarification, I had inquired about 10, I was told we needed a motion, not a resolution, but it says resolution.
No, my note to you was about item 9, that
Okay, all right.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, are we only pulling items 1 and 9? Okay.
No, 9 and 10. 1, 9, and 10.
Oh, we're still pulling 10 as well. Okay. So 1, 9, and 10. So I will entertain a motion then to approve items 2 through 8.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Director Smith. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Director Young. And we have to do a roll call vote.
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
Yes.
Director Odie?
Yes.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes. So we have moved items 2 through 8, and now let's hear item number 1 and have some report of conversation, or Director Chan, you pulled the item?
Yeah, I pulled the item because I was wanting clarification about the fire hydrant KPI. And there's a figure there, 10%. And so I was discussing this with the secretary to get clarification about what the 10% figure represented precisely.
Yes, based on a review of the transcript, there was discussion during the workshop, and these are the workshop minutes for the record, that there was a presentation to the commission that you're a member of. And during that presentation, the information was that the district was only able to maintain about 5% of our fire hydrants, but the district's aim was to grow that. And comment was, I think 10% was supposed to be the next goal, and that's where the 10% came from
Okay.
in the minutes.
Can we actually just insert the words, "the next goal"?
The next goal?
Yes. if that's what I said at the meeting, because that was what I meant and what I said.
Okay. So the minutes state, add a KPI to measure fire hydrant inspections, e.g. inspect 10% of total number of service area hydrants. So what edit are you requesting be
Okay,
made to
because
that?
you just used the next goal, for the
Okay.
next goal.
So I think what we had shared when we were talking about the KPIs, we had the fire hydrant, and, you know, we said that we're gonna target 10% of the hydrants.
Right.
And we were gonna come back, you know, because the board also requested that the board adopt the KPIs. So we are gonna be bringing the KPIs back to the board that will include the hydrant KPI. And the other thing that you requested was, in addition to the 10%, just to help people, 10% of what? So we'll have information that we have 31,000 hydrants. So when you think 10%, it's 3,100 hydrants in terms of the goal. So the board will see the updated KPI report at the next board meeting.
Okay, so if there was, so that was in in an email back and forth between you and I privately, but what I need to do is to clarify, I guess, at the next meeting, what specifically I intended that 10% to mean.
Okay.
Which was the next,
Yeah,
which was the goal for, but the most immediate goal.
But what was shared with the board at that last meeting was, I had shared with the entire board the conversation that you also wanted absolute number on that
Right.
goal. So that's what was shared with the board.
Okay.
So just so I'm clear for this consent calendar item, which is special meeting minutes and regular meeting minutes of the May 26, 2026 meetings, we would then entertain a motion to approve with the additional language of next goal? Or are we like okay with the language as is, knowing that staff will come back to us?
I think I'm okay with what it is. I mean, Risha basically said, you recounted my words, right? And I didn't say the next goal. And so I think the meeting notes have to reflect what I said at that meeting. And so,
The board, so the meeting notes reflect that the board requested the following: to add a KPI to measure fire hydrant inspections, and then e.g. inspect 10% of total number of service area hydrants. So if you're saying the goal is to inspect 10%,
okay.
how do you want me
So-
to revise the meeting minutes?
Okay, I don't think we should.
Okay,
We'll just discuss it at the next time we talk about the KPIs.
okay.
Okay, so the meeting minutes remain as they are, but we've had the little discussion, and now we can just have a motion to approve the special meeting minutes and regular meeting minutes of May 26, 2026. Do I have a motion?
Need 9 and 10.
Moved by Director Odie, seconded by Director Smith. Let's do a roll call vote.
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
Yes?
Director Odie?
Aye.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes. Okay, so now we move to item 9
President
and,
Gomez, may I state a point of order?
yes.
Yes, during the last roll call on the consent calendar, I was inadvertently logged out for about 15, 20 seconds. Just as I was casting my vote, I would like to be recorded as voting yes.
We
On the consent
actually,
calendar.
we heard your vote, Director Katz, and we were able to record it as a yes, and I noted that you were briefly
Lips
off.
weren't moving.
Yeah, you were briefly kind of frozen,
doing a
but you are
ventriloquist.
back. So, but yeah, we did record that vote, and thank you for noting that. So for the public benefit, the item that has been pulled is number 9, which states, direct the Secretary of the District to schedule August 26, 2026 meetings of the Board of Directors to allow the board to exercise its Assembly Bill 408 authority within the narrow timeframe set forth in Section 11852.5 of the Municipal Utility District Act for the general election. So the item has been pulled, and who would like to talk? Director Young?
Yeah, I want to pull both of the 9 and 10 basically for the same reason, that when I first ran and in the ensuing years, it came as a surprise to many people that our positions up here are elected. And I don't want us just moving on consent calendar, what is the most important way that our constituents have to voice their support or opposition to the direction of the board. And so it would be helpful, the Assembly Bill 408 has the intent of saving districts money when there are none other than the incumbent running for reelection, and gives the board the opportunity to appoint in lieu of election. It saves a lot of money. I think it'd be helpful for that to be shared. But it also keeps a name off the ballot that tells people that their representative is up for election. So I'd like to have the item, sort of presented. And then item 10 is really the operations of setting that election. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, Risha and I discussed this. Risha, if you want to just provide a little background, just in terms of, both the cost of running an election and then item 10, just the mechanics of it.
Right. So AB 408, as Director Young stated, gives the district a narrow opportunity to save on election costs when a ward race is uncontested or has no candidate. And today, the board is not appointing anybody. The action today is only to direct me to schedule a meeting in August so the board can act within the legally required time frame if the conditions arise. So if there's only one person or no person who has filed papers by the deadline, then the board can act under AB 408. So under the EBMUD Act, if no one or only one person has filed for a ward by the statutory deadline, the county elections official must notify the board. After that notice, the board may choose to appoint the sole candidate, appoint a qualified person if there is no candidate, or allow the election to proceed in that ward. And in 2026, as in years previous, that decision window is very short. Nominations open Monday, July 13th, and close Friday, August 7th. If the incumbent doesn't file by 5 p.m. on Friday, August 7th, the nomination period is extended 5 days to 5 p.m. on Wednesday, August 12th. And our board meeting, our regularly scheduled board meeting, is August 11th, so we wouldn't receive notice in time for the board to take action on August 11th. And the board can only exercise this authority between August 13th and August 19th. And again, as Director Young stated, the reason for preserving this option is it saves election cost. If elections are held for all 4 open seats in 2026, the estimated total election cost is about $1.6 million. In 2022, we spent $773,000. In 2020, we had all appointments, so we spent about $6,500. In 2018, we were at about $350,000. 2016, about $88,000. 2014, about $188,000. And so election costs have increased, and so we're averaging about maybe $330,000 to $350,000 per ward, and that's based on the number of registered voters in the ward, and then that's multiplied by how much the county charges per voter to administer our election. And so that goes into item 10, 10.1, 2, and 3, where we're asking for the board to adopt a resolution to call and order the election for the wards. The counties actually administer our elections for us, so they prepare all of our documentation, they canvass the votes, and they provide us the final votes in December. And so we asked the Board of Supervisors to consolidate our elections with the general election. And so this is 10.1 and 10.2 and 10.3 are administrative processes for us. If the board approves us consolidating our elections with the counties, then we will submit paperwork to the counties and the registrar of voters, and they will administer the elections for us. 10.3 is to establish the criteria for candidate statements. And the district has historically paid $1,000. We have historically charged candidates $1,000 for their statements, and then East Bay MUD will pay any cost above that, including for translations. So that's what we're asking the board today, to take action, to set their meetings in August, because we're not going to have a second meeting in August, so that you can exercise your AB 408 authority if you need to, and then for us to consolidate the elections with the counties.
And then also for item 9, if the board does provide that authority to the secretary, we are recommending it in the BD1 to have that meeting on August 18th.
Correct.
So any other board questions about these two items at the moment? And just to clarify, we're not making a decision about whether or not names will appear on ballots at this point.
Correct. You're just making a decision to exercise, to schedule a meeting to exercise your authority if
And it
needed.
would be at that meeting that the item would not be on consent, it would be an actual discussion item.
Correct.
And
I'll move
determination.
adoption of items 9 and 10.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Young, a second by Director Lewis. Roll call vote, Madam Secretary, please.
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
Yes.
Director Odie?
Yes.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have moved our consent calendar, and now we're moving to item 11, which is a public hearing on non-Prop 218 rates, charges, and fees for subject to Proposition 28, not subject to Proposition 218 for fiscal year 2027, as recommended in the report and recommendation of the general manager, revisions to the water and wastewater schedules of rates, charges, and fees not subject to Prop 218 for fiscal year 2027, filed with the Board of Directors on May 12th, 2026. So the public hearing is now open. Public comment regarding agenda item 11 will be taken after a presentation by Treasury Manager Robert Haney. The board will consider adoption of the rates, charges, and other fees not subject to Prop 218 for fiscal year 27 under agenda item 14. So this is the hearing, and then later we will do the adoption. Thank you, Robbie.
Okay.
Let's get going.
Okay, I'm good to go?
Yes,
Okay,
you're good
great.
to go.
Yeah, so good afternoon. I will be spending the next few minutes talking about our rates, fees, and charges not subject to Prop 218. And we've got to talk about these a few times over the last month, and even some before that. At the May 12th board meeting, we gave a presentation on non-Prop 218 rates, and we filed our report and recommendation of the general manager, and showing all of these fees and charges that we're finalizing today. So this was first presented at May 12th. And specifically, we talked quite a bit about our new methodology for the water and wastewater capacity charges. And then on May 26th, the next board meeting, we had our mid-cycle budget and rates workshop where we got to continue talking about Prop 218 rate, non-Prop 218 rates, and which include our capacity charges. And so now we're here today in this public hearing, and then as was stated, it's item 14 is where we have the actual action item with the resolution. So this is a busy slide of schedules related to what we're updating with the water system, and I won't read each of these, but these are the standard set of non-Prop 218 fee schedules that we update each year. And with the notable update of our methodology, as I said before, of the system capacity charges that we've talked about at the last two meetings, that's Schedule J. So that's the list for water. And then a similar list for wastewater of our non-Prop 218 rates, rate schedule for wastewater. And like water, this is our standard set that we update each year. And again, one notable change is our updated methodology for our wastewater capacity fees, which we've talked about the last two meetings. And then there are a couple schedules that don't neatly fit into water or wastewater, the Public Records Act fees, real property use fees, and recreation fees, which are also included as part of this report. So that's an overview of the rates, charges, and fees schedules that are in your board packet. Of course, we're in the public hearing period now, and then I think this is item 11, it's item 14 where the actual action item is. And our recommendation is to adopt the resolution approving the fiscal year 2027 rates, charges, and fees not subject to Prop 218. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the board at this point? And given none, do we have any members of the public that wish to speak either online or in the audience?
I have one online public comment.
Okay, let's go ahead and hear that.
Okay.
I will read that. When prompted, please state your name, affiliation if applicable, and topic, and please refrain from providing personal information such as addresses or phone numbers during public comment. The secretary will call you and you will have 3 minutes to speak, and the secretary will track the time. So if we are ready for that online commenter.
Yes, we have Lisa Vorderbruggen, and your 3 minutes will start now.
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, President Gomez and members of the board. I'm Lisa Vorderbruggen with the Building Industry Association of the Bay Area. I've already submitted a rather lengthy letter, so I will be brief. I'm here today about one specific group of homes, townhomes, condos, and duets. This is the missing middle. This is the housing your cities are counting on to hit their RHNA targets. And for a lot of families, it's the last realistic path to owning a home anywhere near where they work. And it's the one housing type your proposed fee structure penalizes instead of rewards. Under the proposal, the per door cost on these homes jumps about $13,000 for water and sewer combined. On a 100-unit townhome project, that's $1.3 million in new costs, landing on projects that were financed entitled under the rules you have today. Many of these builders only found out a few months ago about these increases. So I'm asking for two things. First, a transition for projects already in the pipeline. Anything holding a city or county entitlement as of June 30th, 2027 should be able to choose between the current and the new fee structure. Your own staff have already offered prepayment and project-by-project MOUs, which tells us that a transition period is acceptable to the district. I'm just asking you to make it clear and reliable through a simple grandfathering clause instead of a negotiated case-by-case. Second, for projects not entitled, we're hoping you will direct staff to work with us on a menu of lower cost design options, including master metering done right and accepting the state's Appendix M water demand calculator to right-size domestic meters. This lowers the fee without reducing service, and it advances the district's own conservation goals. And as the analysis laid out in our letter shows, the record before you today doesn't yet establish that these charges are proportional to the demand the connections actually create. We're ready to work through every detail with your staff, which have been very helpful and accessible to us, and we thank you. And if with that, if they have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Okay, well, thank you for those comments. And at this point, unless there are no other speakers, we could close the public hearing. And do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Director Smith. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Director Chan, and we'll do a roll call vote.
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
Yes.
Director Odie?
Yes.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes. So as previously noted, the board will consider actually adopting these fees, rates, and charges not subject to Prop 218 under Agenda Item 14. Thank you so much, Robert. So now we're moving on to Agenda Item 12, AB 2561. We're going to conduct another public hearing to receive a report on job vacancy rates of the International Federation of Professional and Technical Engineers, Local 21, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 39, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Locals 444 and 2019, and as required by the California Assembly Bill 2561, Local Public Employees Vacant Positions. So the public hearing is now open, and we will take public comment following the presentations by staff and the bargaining units. So Vincent James is the Manager of Recruitment and Classification, and you're on.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Board of Directors, General Manager, General Counsel. I'll be presenting on AB 2561, the vacancy compliance reporting. I'll briefly cover the background of the compliance bill. Then I'll talk about a review of the vacancy rates for the bargaining units. And then lastly, I'll talk about our recruitment and retention efforts to fill those vacancies. For a little background, AB 2561 was signed into law in late 2024. And the intention of this bill was to promote transparency and accountability in the public sector filling vacancies. Here are some key provisions of AB 2561. Yearly, the district comes to this body to report on our vacancy rate and state what we're doing to fill those vacancies. The bargaining units have an opportunity to present on their positions. And then lastly, there are some additional requirements if the vacancy rate for any one bargaining unit is over 20%. Thankfully, we have not even approached 20% since this bill was signed into law. So for Local 2019, we have a vacancy rate of 10.1%. If you exclude the internships of engineering aides, IT interns, and ranger naturalist classifications, the vacancy rate is 8.9%. And then since these numbers were compiled, we are currently in the process of recruiting for assistant engineer, storekeeper 1, wastewater control inspector, and information systems support analyst. In addition, we have opened 2 current recruitments for associate electrical engineer. And then we've also established eligibility lists for account clerk, ranger naturalist 2, associate civil engineer, and associate mechanical engineer, and currently hiring for those classifications. For Local 444, the vacancy rate is 6.1%. We're currently recruiting for electrical technicians, ground maintenance specialists 2, and water distribution plumber 4. We have completed recruitments and looking forward to hiring interviews for facility specialist 2, heavy equipment mechanic, heavy transport operator, and maintenance machinist. And then also in addition, there's been hiring interviews for maintenance specialist 2, automotive services attendant, and meter reader mechanic. For Local 39, we have 1 vacancy, and that is for a senior water distribution operator. And that recruitment is ongoing currently. And then lastly, we have Local 21, showing a vacancy rate of 7.6%, approximately 20 current vacant positions. We've completed recruitments, and the hiring process will begin for senior civil engineer, equipment supervisor, information services supervisor. In fact, they just had to hire maintenance superintendent and water distribution supervisor. So here are some of our recruitment strategies to fill our vacancies. We do a great deal of outreach. In addition to our outreach, we're building recruitment pipelines. I think it's very good that the departments and ODEC are working together to synchronize engineering aid intern recruitments to recruit university juniors and seniors for internships at optimal times of years. And then you see also, whenever we see inequities, we do market equity adjustments as well. For our workforce retention strategies, one thing the district does very well, and that is training programs. We have the Plumber Training Academy, the Operator and Training Program, the Maintenance Trades Training Program, and we're looking at doing a similar model to be used for hard-to-fill positions such as Associate Electrical Engineer. In addition, other career paths, what we've looked at is what we call flexing, the flexible position of from junior to assistant to associate, meaning we can hire someone in at the junior level and then can flex that position as they advance in the knowledge, skills, and abilities for the higher level classifications. And then I just wanted to read this, that the filling of vacancies, especially for hard to fill positions, it's a key priority. Part of that is we have engaged with those who have left the district to see why are they leaving, and looking at the reasons, we see that the reasons they're leaving, it's not because of salary or benefits. Mainly people are leaving for lifestyle changes. Either they're retiring or they want to be near family members, having children, or they need to take care of aging parents. So my division remains committed to filling the vacancies, and we look forward to maybe one day being 100% filled. So we can dream. Any questions?
Thank you so much for that presentation. So now we, unless there are any questions, oh yeah, Dr. Rowdy?
I just had a couple of questions. First of all, thank you for the presentation. So is it correct that when we say funded, all of these positions were in the budget that we've passed?
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, Vince, but the way the vacancy rate, at least as reported, we have to consider both funded and funded positions as vacancies. So when you look at that vacancy rate, it also includes the unfunded positions.
That's correct.
Okay. And then, so if we're not recruiting for something right now, does that mean we will, or we're just going to just keep it vacant for a year or two, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, as with all positions we fill it, we closely, review and determine whether or not that position, when we hire it, that we feel like we'll have work for that position for an extended period of time. So all positions are reviewed for need.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So now we would like to actually receive presentations from the bargaining units. Do we have a sense for how many, or if any, presentations the bargaining units will make?
We have been advised that Local 2019 would like to make comments but does not have a formal presentation. Correct?
So would this would be the time, so I would use this card as a,
Correct.
okay. So Justin Young, you have the usual, go ahead, Director Lewis, you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a question about what you just said. So on the presentation, it said they gave us funded vacant positions. You said you count funded and unfunded, so does that change the percentage, the vacancy rate percentage?
Go ahead, Vince.
That's actually a misprint. It counted all the vacancies. It counted all of them. So it should say funded and unfunded.
Okay, it just says funded.
Yeah,
That's
it just
fine. Okay, thank you.
Apologies.
Yeah, that's why. Lest you think we don't read this.
Thank you, Vincent, and thank you, Director Lewis. And Justin, please come on up.
Okay, so we just talked about California Assembly Bill 2561 is a law that was passed 2 years ago. So this is our second, I believe, Vincent, our second year. We were required to present the board the vacancy rates of the bargaining units. The purpose of the bill was to really to assist in recruitment and retention issues in the bargaining units. So that's basically what the problem we are trying to fix. The AB 2561 states the California Constitution requires the state to reimburse local agencies and school districts for certain costs mandated by the state. Statutory provisions establish procedures for making that reimbursement. So I just want to make sure maybe the district, have we looked into this reimbursement for vacancies? That's something maybe we are, are offered, or maybe that's something that we qualify for. And how, just understanding of how we could qualify for these funds. We like getting grants, there's money out there, we saw the vacancies. Luckily, right now, we see a low. My fear is that trend will creep up. And we kind of want to get ahead of that issue before things get worse. So it'd be good to see what the district needs to do to get reimbursed for some of those issues. Also want everybody to understand that what we're presenting today is a snapshot. It's not a trend. So if there was an issue, and last week they had a hiring of 10 people, and then next week some of them don't stay, that's not captured in this. It's good to see that trend, just to see what this, to see what kind of vacancies. What we're trying to goal is we're trying to, assist in the recruitment or retention, and like Vincent says, get that number down to 0. So, I like what we're doing here. I just want to make sure that this presentation today, and I'm glad they mentioned, because, I've been repeat about the electrical engineer issues. I'm glad it's been, I acknowledged, because for a long time it wasn't acknowledged. So I'm glad we can work as a team and get some of these positions filled. And I think that's the purpose of this bill, was to assist in that recruitment and retention. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. So are there any other comments or discussion from the board at this point? Okay. Seeing none, we would receive any other public comment that we may have seen online. Do we have any?
No additional public comment.
Okay. So with that, we will now close the public hearing. And do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Director Smith,
Second.
seconded by Director Young. Roll call vote, please.
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
Yes?
Director Odie?
Yes.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes. So we will now move on to determination and discussion items, and General Manager Chan will introduce each item.
Thank you, President Gomez. First, we have our legislative update. Kathy Viatella, our Manager of Legislative Affairs, will provide the update, including consideration of a position on a bill for funding requests for Supply Bank's Oakport project. I'll just note that the Legislative Human Resources Committee this morning unanimously supported recommending support for this bill.
Yes, thank you, General Manager Chan. Good afternoon, President Gomez and members of the board. I'm tripping over my words. So I am here to present Legislative Report 426. As was mentioned, it was discussed and approved unanimously. The staff recommendation to support a position on a budget trailer bill that has yet to be introduced, that would be for a budget ask for the Oak Street project. So as background, you all know that this is a partnership with Supply Bank, and they are working on developing a regional distribution center and a nonprofit hub and a warehouse and service yard for EBMUD property in Oakland. And we have a lease arrangement with them that the board approved, a long-term lease. It was approved back in 2024. And under that lease arrangement, they would construct the facilities for EBMUD as consideration of the lease. So the project is moving forward. The secret documentation is completed, and the first set of permit applications are expected to be submitted soon, and the groundbreaking is targeted for September. So Supply Bank has secured funding, significant funding, but there is a funding gap for the project, and so they're seeking a $10 million budget request in the state budget for this year. And that funding would come through, they're looking at Proposition 4, the climate bond, or I keep referring to it as the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, but it's the Cap and Invest Fund now, as they've renamed it. This project, obviously, the nexus for those funds is it would really enhance our emergency preparedness by having this facility, but it also would deliver community benefits, which are associated with the project, including flood management, some neighborhood revitalization, and support for families in need. So we are recommending to you all today as the full board to support this funding request, and then if an opportunity opens up in the budget, we would move forward. One thing I will note is Director Odie asked in the LegHR committee meeting this morning, are there any champions? So within our delegation, Supply Bank has been talking with Senator Araguin and Assemblymember Bonta's offices. They are supportive, but I don't know yet where this ranks in terms of their other budget priorities. So I'll stop there in case you have any questions.
Yeah, questions by the board. Director Chan?
Yeah, just wanted to ask for corrections. You said, oh, never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
Answered my own question in my head. Thank you.
Okay, any
I love
other-
those kinds of questions.
Any other items? We'll go with Director Young and then Director Odie.
Yeah. I just had a question on our delegation, again, on this besides Mia Bonta's office. Are we also working with Barra Cahan and Grayson and?
We would engage the full delegation once I have a position from the board. Supply Bank has been working with a contract lobbyist, and they have been meeting with the full delegation. So they are doing a lot of outreach. As you know, Benito is very
Yes.
active in the
Yes.
community, and he's been doing a lot of outreach.
Okay.
Director Odie.
Given this is a Ward 5 project, I'd like to move approval of the item.
And I will second it as somebody who has family that uses Supply Bank's diaper bank.
So we have a motion by Director Odie, a second by Director Young. Any other comments or? No? Okay. So then a roll call vote, Madam Secretary.
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
Yes.
Director Odie?
Yes.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
You bet.
President Gomez?
Yes. Okay, so thank you so much, Kathy. That
I
was,
have a
and
few
you
other
have
updates.
a
I
few
have
more
other updates.
items.
It's always a twofer when I
Yes,
come
a
up.
twofer. Yes, I've learned. I'm learning that. Thank you.
So I have a couple of other updates. So we've passed an important deadline. So all bills that were introduced in their first house are now over in the second house. So the month of June is fast and furious as they're trying to do policy committees that made it through that gauntlet. Summer recess will start on July 2nd, and so then they'll be out for the month of July, and then they come back in August. They go through the fiscal committees, and then end of session at the end of August. So it's moving quickly now. Good news is our sponsored bill, SB 1085, to maintain the water supply assessment requirement for new large development projects, which was inadvertently circumvented as part of the CEQA reforms, which I've talked about, that happened last year. That has passed from the Senate over into the Assembly, and it'll have its policy hearings coming up soon. We have a broad coalition of support. I talked about this in the last board meeting, of water agencies, environmental NGOs, some of the environmental justice NGOs, as well as the associations. The California Building Industry Association and some housing groups oppose SB 1085 by Senator Durazo unless it is amended. And as I mentioned last time, I think we talked about, we have been taking amendments to the bill and having very productive conversations with the author's office. It was first amended to address the timelines in the CEQA reform, to line up our bill with those timelines so that it's sort of expedited for the types of projects which are meant to benefit from the CEQA reform. So that was one of the first amendments. The second amendment that there was taken by the author was to provide that WSAs are information documents and not final agency action to mitigate any future litigation risk. We're still in conversations with the housing groups. That's not gone far enough for them. And so we are, like I said, I think all parties would agree the conversations are productive right now, and we think we'll get there hopefully soon. So that is continuing to move forward. So any questions about about that and our process right now, where things are? Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the budget, particularly because we're looking at a potential budget ask if an opportunity or a window of opportunity opens up. As you all may know or may not know, the budget must be passed by June 15th. That's a constitutional requirement. That doesn't mean that other budgets that follow the budget have to meet that deadline, so I'll talk a little bit about that. So back in January, the governor proposed a $350 billion budget, and at that time, it was a projected $2.6 billion shortfall or deficit, which they viewed as manageable. And since then, we've really seen, the state has seen very strong revenues. The stock market is doing well, AI is doing well so far. And so that has really resulted in robust revenues and improved the fiscal outlook. So the governor came out with his May revision, and it eliminates the project deficits through 2028. And it's using sort of higher revenues, reserves, and borrowing and some one-time solutions to balance the budget. However, the Legislative Analyst's Office, they are looking and warning out beyond 2028 that we'll continue to experience structural deficits, which are creating future budget pressures if spending continues to outpace the revenues. So the Senate and the Assembly in the last couple of weeks have released their budget proposals. They're trying to modify the governor's May revision, and it's really setting a stage for continued negotiations. After, what they're going to do is they're going to pass a placeholder budget next week on the 15th, and then the negotiations will continue. My office is really tracking right now the cap and invest spending and the Prop 4 climate bond because of the previous item that we talked about, but some of our other interests. There have been recent changes by the California Air Resources Board that could reduce the cap and invest revenues by up to $2 billion annually. And environmental advocates have expressed concern about those changes. It could weaken the funding for some of the climate change programs that benefit from those funds. And then the Senate, actually, when they had their hearing on this, they actually rejected the governor's cap and invest spending plan, citing that the revenue uncertainty and the use of the climate funds to address kind of the governor's priority and backfill general fund pressures, which they have been doing, needed to be discussed. So we'll continue to monitor these budget negotiations through the end of the legislative session. So any questions about that? It's a pretty dynamic situation right now. Okay, none there?
Are you finished? Because I did have one question, but I didn't want to
I have a few more things, but related to this.
I'll wait till you're
please,
done.
Please, okay. Lastly, Congress right now is still a very complicated and difficult world, to put it mildly. I think things are being made difficult, as a result of sort of the president's action and the Republicans, but they are starting to work on the 12 appropriations bills. The House Committee on Appropriations advanced the fiscal year 27 Interior and Environment Appropriation Act, and it prioritizes, as you would imagine, investing in American energy production. It's reducing spending in various departments, including cutting EPA's budget by another 20% compared to where we are today. So we're continuing to see these cuts. I will say they've put funding back in that the president had zero lined out. So that's positive, but they're still making significant cuts. And we really have to wait for the House to act on this before it can go over to the Senate and they can do anything. So our consultant back in DC, Eric Saperstein, is continuing to monitor those developments. And then lastly, I'll just talk very briefly about the elections. I think it goes without saying it's been a very interesting primary election. It's been a year or a season of waiting and then waiting and waiting to see who was going to be, sort of emerge as the Democratic front runner for governor among a pretty crowded field. Millions of ballots, as you all know, are waiting to be counted, remain to be counted, and the results won't be certified till July 10th. We will give an update after that happens, as we normally do. But we're starting to get an idea of who will be on the ballot in November. And what I will note is that next year is going to be a year of a lot of change. Obviously, we'll have a new governor, we'll have new constitutional officers, and we'll have a new representative in Congressional District 14 who will replace Eric Swalwell, who vacated the seat in April. There's going to be a special election for that seat on June 16th to fill that vacancy. And the top two candidates right now are both Democrats, and one is California State Senator Aisha Wahab, who represents Senate District 10, which is at the lower end, sort of the sliver at the lower end of our service area, and the other is Dublin Mayor and BART Director Melissa Hernandez. So both of these are sort of the leading candidates for the midterms, but they're also on the ballot for the special election. So we'll start thinking through the summer and into the fall about sort of preparing for this kind of a transition, because we're going to see new members, not in our delegation primarily, except for Senate District 10, but generally within the administration. So I will stop there if you have any questions.
Director Odie.
Thank you. Oops. I guess my two questions were, one, is there any budget money coming for the golden mussels? And then if you have any update on, I think, what is this, SB 1153, the wildfire liability?
Yes, so on the golden mussel, they did budget actions last year on the golden mussel. They said they put $20 million in. There are some policy bills this year related to golden mussel that are going a bit further and trying to address sort of standardizing inspections and how to manage inspections and addressing the voter community concerns. There's no additional money related to that right now. There is some talk on the federal side of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service using some of their money in the budget to address this issue, recognizing that that is a problem. And so we are aware of all of that and tracking that. So the other one, the other bill that you had mentioned, which is, I'm just looking it up. Remind me the number you just said.
I think it's SB 1153.
Yes, 1153. So that is the Aqua-sponsored bill. I don't think that bill has been set for hearing yet. It is over in the Assembly, and we are continuing to monitor it. And I don't think there have been any changes from the update that we gave you last time at the board meeting. Okay. Any other questions?
Board comments? Do we have any public comment on this item, Madam Secretary?
None.
Okay, and this was just an update item, so we voted on the one that we needed to vote on, so thank you so much, Kathy.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Appreciate the update. Okay, so now we're going to move on to agenda item 14, which is to actually adopt the rates, charges, and other fees not subject to Prop 218 for fiscal year 2027, as recommended in the report and recommendation of the general manager, revisions to the water and wastewater schedules of rates, charges, and fees not subject to Prop 218 for fiscal year 27. It was filed with the Board of Directors on May 12th, and we conducted the public hearing and received comments on this item under agenda item 11. So at this point, I'm curious if there's any additional board discussion on this item.
President Gomez, I might also add, we heard the public comment from Lisa from BIA. I just want to let you know that we have been and are working with the BIA on their comment letter.
Thank you. Yeah, we all received a letter yesterday evening, and we've all had a chance to read it. And Director Lewis.
Yeah, I just want to note that to the extent, and I'm not saying that there are any or will be, but if there are any extensions of times as part of negotiations that affect the SEC charges, I think what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and that they should also be available to single-family homes that were adversely affected by our changes.
Yeah, Director Smith?
As I mentioned the last time, I believe that it's going to be very, very important that we be very transparent with this information to the cities and townships and everywhere, so that when people are ready to purchase what these developers and builders are dealing with, they'll have an understanding that, hey, maybe it doesn't have to cost that much. I know a lot of people say that that's just business, but I believe that it should be transparency. If we are making it less expensive for them, then those who buy shouldn't have to fill in a gap. Thank you.
Okay. Director Odie.
I just wanted to point out that that letter did not get sent to my East Bay MUD address, so if the sender could correct their records, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Director Odie. Director Katz?
Thank you, President Gomez. It's my intent to vote for the motion, and I think that's because we are coming into industry standards. That's for the
Director Katz, you froze. But he stated his point in general, or direction. So I know that you are frozen. If you're able to come right back on, I will acknowledge you. For now, any other board comments or discussion? Madam Secretary, are there any speakers online or in attendance for additional public comment?
None.
No additional public comment, okay. So, with that, I would entertain a motion and a second to approve agenda item 14, and we would need a roll call, and I just recognized that Director Katz just dropped. He lost his connection, but hopefully he'll be able to come back on
Correct. We're going to check
shortly.
and see. It's not back just yet. Can you monitor that? You can't, okay. We're looking. So Director Katz is not back yet. We'll go ahead and do the roll call vote if you got your motion and your second.
So I need a motion and a second to approve agenda item 14, please.
I'll move.
Moved by Director Young. Do we have a second? I'll second it. Seconded by President Gomez. Okay. So we'll do a roll call vote.
Okay. Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz lost connection. Director Lewis?
Please come back to me.
Director Odie?
Yes?
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
Yes.
Okay.
And Director Katz has still not rejoined the meeting. Okay.
Okay. I wonder if he would have an opportunity later, if he does join again, to cast a vote. Is that okay? Yeah? It
Yeah, I
should
think
be
as long
okay?
as the record's clear.
Okay. All right, so hopefully he'll be able to join us again. So we're now on agenda item 15, where we are affirming the fiscal year 27 operating, debt service, and capital budgets for the water and wastewater systems as recommended in the fiscal year 26-27 mid-cycle budget update that was presented to us on May 26, 2026. And it establishes the terms and conditions for the payments of demands against the district. Fiscal year 27 appropriations are unchanged from the amounts adopted by the board on June 10th. Is there a presentation on this?
There's no presentation.
No presentation on this, so is there any board discussion on this item? I don't see any, so, also, do we have any public speakers on this item, Madam Secretary?
None.
Nothing. Okay, so with that, I would then entertain a motion and a second to approve agenda item 15.
So moved.
Moved by Director Odie. We have
I'll
a
second it.
Seconded by Director Smith. Roll call required for this.
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz is still not online. Director Lewis?
Yes.
Director Odie?
Yes.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes. Okay, thank you for that.
Madam President.
Yes, question, Director Lewis?
I would like to, I don't know if we have to do anything particular, but I would like to change my vote to abstain on the public hearing on the proposed rate change.
On the adoption?
Yeah, I voted yes. I'd like to abstain.
Okay, is there any procedural issue that we should be concerned about to change a vote at this point?
Any concerns?
No, again, as long as we're creating a clear record of the abstention, then
Okay,
Thank you.
so we had one abstention by Director Lewis on item 14.
Right.
We're
And I
not hearing.
apologize for my connection on that. I appeared back during the roll call and would like to vote aye.
Okay, thank you. So we will note that Director Katz is voting yes on agenda item 14, and that Director Lewis is abstaining from agenda item 14.
Point
And-
of information.
Yeah,
Do we
Director
need
Odie?
to ask Director Katz about item 15?
Yeah, and now we also moved on to agenda item 15, Director Katz. This was affirming the fiscal year 27 operating debt service and capital budgets for the water and wastewater systems as recommended in fiscal years 26 and 27 mid-cycle budget update that we received in May. So the appropriations are unchanged and the board has already voted, but we would love to be able to record your vote on that item as well.
Thank you. I will vote yes.
Okay, thank you very much. We have everybody voting. So now we are moving on to agenda item 16 to approve the mid-cycle position resolution for fiscal year 2027 to implement necessary classification changes as recommended to the Board of Directors during the May mid-cycle budget workshop. We all got the information in our packets. Do we have a board, any discussion or questions by the board about agenda item 16? I don't see any. So do we have any public commenters on agenda item 16?
None.
None. So now I would also entertain a motion and a second to approve this item, item 16.
I'll move.
Motion by Director Young. Do we have a second?
Sure.
Seconded by Director Odie, and we'll do a roll call vote.
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
Yes.
Director Odie?
Yes.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes. Great, so now we're on agenda items 17.1, 17.2, which is to take actions related to the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan. This has been long coming, and I know the staff have worked really hard on this for the past 5 years, probably. And this is also the 2025 Water Shortage Contingency Plan. And we will be considering items 17.1, which is to actually adopt the Urban Water Management Plan in compliance with the Water Management Plan Act. And then 17.2, which is to adopt the Water Shortage Contingency Plan. And they're both dated 2025, even though we're in 26, because these are 5-year plans and that's just the way it rolls. So we have a presentation by Senior Civil Engineer Priyanka Jain.
And I'll maybe save, sorry, Priyanka, just save you from saying this, but I'll just note that the draft water shortage contingency plan was not attached to the staff report and is at your places, and we will file that document with the board materials. Sorry, Priyanka.
No,
Thank you.
it's totally great. Well, hello, good afternoon.
You're ready to go.
Okay. So today I am presenting the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan for your consideration and adoption. These companion plans provide the district's long-term roadmap to ensure water supply reliability and provides a framework for which we can respond and manage water shortages. So let's. Okay, this looks like a different precedent. So as a reminder, this is required by the state. It is done every 5 years, and it is the benefit for us is to use it as a long-term planning document, and it also helps us with our eligibility for state grants and loans. In this timeline, this is the public-facing components that we've been going through for the last several months, starting with the board workshop that occurred in January. We then did some public noticing and had a 5-week public comment period. During that period, we held an evening public comment meeting as well as a public hearing, and then we're here at the board adoption for June. And all of the internal and external and board input that we received is reflected in these final plans. So we did receive one formal comment letter from the Sierra Club, SF Bay chapter, and they also spoke at our public hearing that we had here. Their primary concern was that the long-term demand projections appeared overstated based on their methodology and their approach. And they also requested additional collaboration when we do our next update. So the district staff did meet with them on May 28th, and we did walk through the methodology used in the district's long-term planning. And we also know that these projections really aligned with the local land use plans and then the requirement that we have of coordinating with our cities and counties. We also did commit to engage with them when we do our next big update with our long-term demand projections and our urban water management plan. So based on the feedback that we did receive, we did do 2 key refinements to our final urban water management plan. The first was that we did re-examine and update our population projections, and they do align with Plan Bay Area 2050. The second is that we do acknowledge and did do reference along the low demand scenario in our climate, in our demand and supply assessment section in the urban water management plan, and that is consistent with our discussions that we had at the board workshop in January. So these plans, with the changes that we have, these final plans, they do help the district be in compliance, provide resilience for our water supply planning, and they are forward-looking in looking at planning for changing climate and evolving needs in the future. And so the district, our staff does recommend adoption of the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and the Water Storage Contingency Plan. And then as General Manager Chan mentioned about the resolution that is now with you at your place and will be filed with the board materials. Within 30 days of adoption, we will be submitting these to the state, distributing to the local libraries and cities and counties, and posting on our website. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, General Manager Chan, about this?
Nothing. Take any questions the board may have.
Okay. Board discussion on this item, Director Chan?
Yeah, just a quick question. So explicitly, what was the outcome with your conversations with the Sierra Club? Is there agreement now on the methodology?
So the way the conversation went is that we explained and outlined the methodology that we use in the approach. They did understand and appreciate that in addition with the materials that we presented to them. They had a chance to share with us their approach and methodology as well. So they were able to understand where we are looking at land use policies and growth and what they were basing it on with past projections and trends. And so the next step is basically they're going to meet and ask any follow-up questions they have, but they're really looking at the next update. So we'll coordinate and engage with them for the next update, which will be for 2030. We will start our long-term projections probably in about around 2028, and so we are committed to engaging with them for that.
That's great. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions by the board? I would just like to request that for the next time around, that we get a little more information on the water shortage contingency plan piece of things. I feel like we got so much on the urban water management plan, but a little less so on that. So I would appreciate that in the future. Director Young?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I thank you for the work that you've been doing with, that you did with Sierra Club. On our upcoming sort of bigger plans like the WSMP, which comes up before the next urban water management plan program, right? I mean, that's coming, what, in 2 years?
Yeah, I think going forward, we're looking at the urban water management plan as that document for the water
Oh,
supply
we're not
management
going to do
program.
the WSMP anymore?
No, I think the plan is that our long-term planning supply will be folded into urban water management plan and the water storage contingency plan as our
Okay.
roadmap moving forward.
Okay, I guess I didn't understand that. Well, then what I would suggest is that we, I think our public process sort of fell under the radar a little bit more than it should have or could have, and that we take the same kind of care that we do for projects that are going on in our wards in terms of public participation and not just dotting the i's and crossing the t's around, yeah, well, we had an online hearing or we had this or we had that, but really to engage what is a pretty active community of voices around how to more efficiently manage our water supplies and to take advantage of those brains out there to do and inform the best possible things so that the urban water, so it's clear to everybody what the urban water management plan does for us, because I was operating under the impression that the WSMP was the big kahuna, and that the urban water management plan was just something that, so we do it every 5 years, but the WSMP is the big deal. So I stand corrected, but I would admonish that we really do a robust outreach and engagement plan with the NGOs and others that are interested in understanding how we do this. Obviously includes the BIA, so there you go.
Yes, we will commit to doing that, yes.
And I believe during one of the workshops, I had recommended that ward briefings, as it gets closer to adoption, that we as board members may choose to have, to highlight this as it gets closer.
Yeah, and I think from the feedback that we've heard previously and, certainly today, I mean, not just ward briefings, but, even earlier, because we're going to be more engagement with the board and the workshops now that everything's being wrapped up within the urban water management plan.
Okay, well, thank you so much for the presentation, for the discussion. Any other thoughts or comments from the board? Andy, I see your hand up. Director Katz?
Yes, thanks. I think that integrating the WSMP with the urban water management plan makes a lot of sense in some ways, because we're doing a lot of the same things. We're engaging in or should be engaging in a public outreach process and looking at the same general water supply planning kind of function. But the 5-year cycle might be too much to do the scope of work that we've traditionally done with the WSMP. I don't know if we should repeat that every 5 years, but I like that when it's time to do that scope, that we would align them. So maybe we can think about that some more. And it sounds like we will be aligned, for the upcoming cycle, but I don't want to necessarily commit to the agency doing the full, what I understand to be a significant effort every 5 years.
Yes, and what I'll clarify is that there are strategic plans that support our long-term planning. So we have strategic plans, for example, with the conservation program, the recycle water program. And so those are done, like the demand study, are done every 10 years or a longer period, but they are revisited and reassessed every 5 years. And so there is some longer period planning that is done that is folded into our urban water management plan, just to clarify the 5-year and the longer strategic planning that we do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everybody. So Madam Secretary, do we have any public speakers
None.
for this item? None. So with that, I would entertain a motion and a second to approve agenda items 17.1 and 17.2.
I'll move.
Moved by Director Chan,
Second.
seconded by Director Lewis, and a roll call vote?
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
Yes.
Director Odie?
Yes.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes. Thank you all. So we're now moving on to agenda items 18.1 and 8 through 18.3. This is to take actions related to a declaration of emergency for repair of the Alameda Interceptor. So item 18.1 is to declare and determine that a great emergency exists as a result of damage to the Alameda Interceptor located near the intersection of Mariner Square Drive in Wilmot-Chan Way in the city of Alameda. And 18.2 is to ratify the general manager's June 1st declaration of a district emergency in accordance with policy 7.03, emergency preparedness and business continuity. And then item 18.3 is to authorize the general manager to expend sums as needed in response to such emergency pursuant to California Public Utilities Code Section 12753. So the general manager will do a brief presentation with wastewater engineering Karen Warren.
And maybe, thank you, President Gomez. And I'll just, maybe for the benefit of the rest of the board, since, this was the first time, President Gomez, that you went through an emergency declaration and most of the
Yes.
board members haven't.
What was the first?
Yeah. So how it generally works, so just, and I'm taking a little bit away from Gary's presentation, but I think it should be okay. But, we were notified that Alameda notified us on May 28th that they had damaged our 60-inch Alameda interceptor. And, we meet with staff and assess whether or not we can get that repaired, and if not, what are the consequences? And we realized that it would be problematic as we come into the winter season. And so that's when I contacted President Gomez on June 1st, to declare a district emergency. And again, as President Gomez noted, that is per our policy 7.03. As part of that policy, after that emergency declaration is made, when we consult with the board president, we have to, at the earliest possible time, come back to this board to now take action on that emergency declaration, which is why we're here. So, Gary, go ahead.
I think you covered everything.
Well, not the fun stuff, not the fun stuff.
Well, this is last on your agenda, but not the least important. We are moving fast on this. So I have a few slides prepared here. We'll just give you a little overview and then the emergency response and some of the next steps for us in the board. So the incident location, we're off of, along Webster Street. There's, let's see, next photo shows the street. So location of the damage is in the blue rectangle. The Alameda interceptor's the yellow line. It's a 60-inch reinforced concrete pipe. So fortunately, we're outside of a paved area, so we're not impacting traffic or anything, and it's an undeveloped area too. So the city of Alameda has a 30-inch storm drain that goes over our interceptor, and our interceptor's on a pile foundation to keep it in place and protect it during earthquakes and things like that. All the surrounding area is just all the sands and poor soils of Alameda and the surrounding areas. So if you look at our pipe in the adjacent area to it, there's about a foot settlement that's occurred over the last 75 years since the pipe's installed. So Alameda over the years is just slowly settling. So their storm drain pulled apart where it crosses over our interceptor. And so the picture on the left there, our interceptor is mostly buried. You can see the top of it, so wet concrete brown area. And then the city's 30-inch storm drain that goes along the perpendicular crossing. And again, we're in an undeveloped area. There is a preschool next door, and then there's a shopping area, the Mariner Square area. Let's see. So the city was to repair their broken storm drain where it settled. The joints likely pulled apart, so they excavated out. And so the upper right photo shows their excavator actually put 2 holes in the top of our pipe. Actually bent some of the rebar down. Before the city started excavating, we actually did mark the utility for them, and we actually showed the site. The photo's at a little angle there, but you can make out a little bit where the soil's kind of settled off down a little bit lower off to the side of our 60-inch pipe. This is a photo showing the inside of the pipe. So it is on the list of our pipes to be rehabilitated a few years out. We have a few more years we can get out of it. But we do see where those circles are, some water streaming down, indicating where the holes are. And I think that's most likely groundwater and possibly a little bit of storm drain. So our team moved very quickly on this. We went out to the site, assessed the condition the day after we were notified, and by Monday and Tuesday, the following day, we had a draft repair detail. So this sketch shows our interceptor and the existing concrete cradle, and there's pile foundations below it to hold it in place. So to fix the hole, we're gonna put a rolled steel plate over the top of the pipe and then pour a reinforced concrete cap over it. And then the city, after we do our work, then the city of Alameda will come in and repair their 30-inch storm drain. The priority for this is we want to get it all done before the upcoming wet weather season. We're projected to have El Nino, so it could be very significant. So to prevent flooding and then excess infiltration into our interceptor, it's important to get this done. The cost of the work for the construction contractor might be on the order of $300,000. We did some outreach with 2 contractors, and we've have an unofficial commitment from one of them that once we finalize the contract and get your approval, we will move ahead. Once we get your ratification of the emergency, we'll be able to directly award the contract to this company. We've worked with them before too. They've helped us out on past sinkhole projects. So the project timeline, this shows so where we're at today. The board's considering the ratification of the emergency declaration. Once we get your approval, we will assign a contract to perform the work. We hope to have the work done in July. And once we finish our portion of the work, we'll come back to you to end the declaration. So I'll let you know there'll be no more spending or new contracts after it. So with that, so our next steps, it's today to get your approval, ratification for the emergency. Our intent is to complete the repairs before the start of the wet weather season, both our work in the cities. And when we're done with our portion, we'll come back to the board to declare an end of the emergency. And then we will be filing a claim to get reimbursement for the cost for the city. Total cost without, including like district time and construction inspections and the contractor's work and any special materials we have to buy, it won't exceed $500,000. But we'll be close, but it should be under that limit. So with that finishes my presentation. I don't know if anyone has any questions or comments.
Thank you so much. I would just add that in consideration of this, one of the things that was important for me to consider was how long it would take to go through the whole bidding and contracting process if it wasn't declared an emergency, and that it would easily take us into the rainy season.
Yes.
And this particular interceptor would potentially be filled with water and be leaking out, in which case it would become a bigger emergency. So this was part of the consideration that we were kind of bantering back and forth as to, whether to declare it or not. So I just wanted to add that context.
Yeah, normally, say if we finished a design at the 90% level, then we'd give it to our legal counsel and risk management to review. And then it's another month before we can put the documents out for public bidding. Yeah. Because of the value, we have to go out to public bidding. Then it's at least 3.5 to 4.5 months to get until we could come back to the board with approval. So by that time, we'd already be into the wet weather. And the city's indicated they want to finish their work in September. So that gives us just July and August.
Just barely enough time. So I have Director Odie and Director Young.
So can we do all 3 of these with one motion? Yes. First of all, I do want to thank the board president for quick response and the general manager as well, and also for your communication on this. So just to be clear, we are going to seek reimbursement from the city. Correct. On this, okay.
Risk management would take the lead on.
Okay. I mean, I understand that we have discussion, but I'd like to move all 3 items because this is a critical repair for the city of Alameda.
Thank you, Director Odie. Director Young?
2 things. One, this looks like the fix that we did at the Coliseum, similar.
That's why we were able to complete our design
Yeah, it
within
looks like
2
it
days.
looks exactly like what we did in whatever that was, 2 years ago.
A little bit bigger.
They were bigger, I know, and more like
traffic
serious.
areas. And
Right,
things like that.
yeah. I mean, we're lucky on a number of scores. And then has the city indicated that, of course, we will reimburse you?
I have not gotten that
Have we
confirmation.
had any conversation?
Well, I'm going to go complain if they don't.
Well, no, I mean, it should just be, it should not, I mean, I would hate for this to become one of those
Our
things.
project manager, John.
The city
is aware that. Please come up.
Hello, I've been working with the city engineer to work on the repair detail and coordinate their plan as well. So they're aware that the board is moving towards emergency declaration on reimbursement. We have not broached that topic.
Okay, they understand it's their fault.
Yes.
Okay.
I have Director Lewis next.
Oh, I just wanted to second the motion with regard to items 18.1, .2, and .3.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments, questions? With that, do we have any public speakers? I kind of forgot that part before we actually vote.
None.
Public speakers, okay. So roll call vote on items 18.1 through 18.3.
Director Chan?
Yes.
Director Katz?
Yes.
Director Lewis?
Yes?
Director Odie?
Yes.
Director Smith?
Aye.
Director Young?
Yes.
President Gomez?
Yes, thank you all. This was a little hairy.
Thank you.
having to, first emergency to deal with, but here we are. So now we are going on to agenda item 19, which is the general manager's report, and he will provide comments on each item, the monthly report and the 6-month forecast.
Yeah, I'll be brief. There's 2 items under the GM report. The monthly report is attached for your review. I can answer any questions. As I've done in the past, I'll just note in terms of consumption to date, it's still running behind last year by about 5.3%. If you just look at the month of May, this May was around 159 million gallons per day, which is 7% less than last May. So we're still trailing consumption when compared to last year. Also attached is the 6-month forecast. So that includes a summary of board meetings and committee meetings, workshops, and events for the past 6 months, as well as a forecast for the next 6 months. I'll just note when you look at that report that we are planning only 1 meeting in August, September, and November, as the board had voted on previously. And we're also planning our annual infrastructure workshop in October. That's the end of my reports.
Thank you very much, General Manager Chan. So for item 20, which is other items for future consideration, this time I'm going to throw a little twist on this, and if possible, I would like to request my fellow board members to consider what you consider priorities that you would like to see happen over the next 6 months, and to send them to me via email individually. So just do some thinking, do some soul searching. What would you like to see accomplished during this year before the end of the year? So we only have 6 months to go.
Say it out loud.
No, but please do submit them to myself. And if we could have this done by the end of June, that would be ideal. So thank you very much for that. And then next we have director comments. And do we want to begin? I'll begin to my left this time, and I'll then move on to Director Katz in the middle, and then we'll continue. So any director comments?
Been a personally busy past couple of weeks, but I did manage to make it to see our general manager throw out the first pitch for the Ballers game. That was quite pleasant.
Very fun.
Yeah, it was good. Weather was good too, and the pineapple whip was there. So those who were there with me, they saw how excited I was about that. Have some things upcoming tomorrow. I'll be presenting with Ginger and EBMUD and perhaps Priya for the San Pablo Rotary in La Strada. So other things coming along as well.
Thank you, Director Chan.
Okay. I attended, along with Director Odie, the Charity Festival last Saturday, and we rode in trucks. We had little flags with our names on it. It was very fun.
Thank you very much. Director Katz?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Director Lewis?
Oh, I'm brain dead too. Both Director Chan and I participated in an update with staff on. Thank you. So that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you, Director Lewis. Director Odie.
Thank you. So I was also at the Ballers game for the first pitch. By the way, he threw a strike, so let's not forget that. Also got a chance to be interviewed, I think, in the third inning about the importance of storing water, 2 gallons per day per person for 3 to 7 days. Right? Did I get that right, Tracy? Okay.
You got that right.
And then also the San Leandro Cherry Festival, that was a good time had by all. Thanks to Sung Kwan for all his hard work putting it together, and then Gilbert Pence and Jeffrey Moore were our drivers, so give a shout out to them. I think that's all that, I think we have the Bayside facility. It says here it's the last one, is that true? Yes. Oh, wow, cool. Okay then, that should be fun.
Director Young?
I also was fortunate to attend the Ballers game and saw the Ballers win convincingly, as well as General Manager Chan's first pitch and Jim's excellent interview. And then headed over to Siesta Valley for the soft opening, which featured the Burning Down the House, a Talking Heads cover band, as well as a couple other bands. And I think, who was in the audience? Catherine was there, Serge was there. Catherine, you were there, right? Yeah. And then we had our Siesta, actually, the following week, we had our Siesta Valley Foundation Board meeting where we approved the operating services agreement that will govern the foundation's, foundation's interaction with Siesta Valley Bowl, the for-profit. And then we had our official opening last Friday night with Jonathan Richmond. Again, we had a few East Bay Mudders in the crowd. And I have to say, I feel really proud of us and the role that, I know Catherine and her team are spending a fair amount of time talking with the crew at the foundation about the watershed education program and the extent to which the folks running the foundation really want to emphasize and highlight the role that our watershed plays and the amount of great, I think, reputation building that this venue will give to us. So that feels really good. And then coming up tomorrow evening, I think Director Lewis and I are attending the Mayor's Conference in Piedmont. I think that's it. Feels like I did some other stuff, but.
I know, I was thinking it too. So I'll just give a brief report on what I accomplished the last couple of weeks. On May 28th, I attended Congressman DeSanya's town hall meeting in Danville. Also, I went to the Oakland Ballers game on the 30th. That was fun. And then on June 3rd, I was invited to become a judge for Alamo Homeowners Association to see which yard was more drought tolerant.
Nice.
So I was able to drive around and participate in that. And then June 4th, I attended a meeting with 2 Lafayette council members who are our liaisons with East Bay Mud. And we did we walked a trail where they're proposing to complete a trail, and it has to do with our aqueducts that are nearby and whether we're going to be able to make it happen. So anyway, that was an interesting on-site meeting with them. And then on June 4th, I attended the Mayor's Conference in Walnut Creek. So that's it for me. So with that, I guess we could now announce that the next regular meeting of the Board of Directors will be on Tuesday, June 23rd at 1:15. And this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.